Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Changing the Narrative podcast. I'm your co-host, Dr. Gabriel Warren, along with Karl Benson, and we are here to talk about our, very first episode of this podcast and kind of give you insights into what we're hoping to accomplish over the next, several episodes as you tune in and as you listen to what we are, talking about with other people. So, Karl. I guess I'll just start by sharing a little bit of my perspective, and then you can kind of tell us what you want to get across. But, when we started having these conversations about what we wanted to name the podcast, for me, it was personal because I feel like a lot of times when we think about being a Black man in our society, there are so many pressures that we face. And oftentimes some of those pressures are because the narratives about Black men are not positive. A lot of times they talk about the Black men who are not taking care of their responsibilities, or the Black man who may not, have a job, or maybe they're out here doing illegal activity or whatever the case is. And the images that we see about what we're supposed to represent are not always in a positive light. So for me, one of the things I really hope to accomplish with this podcast is to change that narrative a little bit, man. Because I know a lot of people like yourself who, we are good family men. We do take care of our responsibilities. We have good jobs. We're trying to give back to our communities, and we're really trying to be, good citizens in the communities that we serve. So that is one thing I really hope to accomplish with this podcast, and highlight people who may not necessarily be people that you see on TV, but they're making just as a large of an impact in the classroom, or volunteering at a nonprofit in the area. So I don't know if you had some thoughts to share about that, but any ideas for people to get?
Yeah, same thing. I think that ultimately we start talking about what we're trying to do with this podcast and these conversations is really bringing to light all the different men that we know that are in our lives, that can have this, not only a genuine, sincere conversation about it, but Black men that are doing great things that no one knows about, right? Or just folks we're both in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, but I think that being in Minnesota, being a Black man in Minnesota, it's a different play, right? There's a lot of us here, but there's not a lot of us here, you know what I mean? And we're not necessarily all connected. I think that this podcast will give us an opportunity to connect some folks and then have these deeper conversations to share out with others. So anything we can do, anything I can do personally to sort of create that and change that narrative, as we say, I'm 100% behind it. Anything I can do to support Black men, young men in our communities and across this country and whatnot, I'm always on board with it. So when you and I started talking about this, it was a no-brainer for me. Always ready to have the conversations and meet new people, and this is a great platform to do it.
Yeah. So the upcoming episodes, we'll have tons of different types of Black men. So you'll have the Black men who may be, giving back in ways that you may not always think about as giving back, like teachers, or, like I said, volunteers in their community, faith leaders, people who, some people may go out and they may have their own businesses and they may be doing grand things, but we really want people to understand that when you think about the Black man, one, we're not a homogenous group. And I think that's something that oftentimes Black men get lumped into this box of, hey, all Black men are whatever. And I want to be able to highlight that. And then two, to let people know that even though you may not be that business owner, but if you're staying there for your families, you're raising your kids, you're going out every day working a good job, you are somebody's hero and you're somebody's role model. And I think we need to celebrate those men too, because those are the men that are having just as big of an impact, if not more, than someone that may be super busy, super successful, have time restraints and things like that. So that's the conversations I'm looking forward to the most over the next several episodes, where we get to meet these individuals and they share about how they're giving back to their communities and things.
Right. And it just sort of looks at a different way of what success means, right? To being a successful Black man, what does that mean? And it could very well be a father or teacher, or it could be a pro athlete. We have a lot of folks that we hope to sort of speak to and bring in and sort of have these conversations with who run the gamut, I guess, if you will, of sort of where they come from. what they do, or what their history that brings them to us today is. But I think that that's the beauty of it, right? Some folks you may know, some folks our listeners may know about or have heard of before, have bigger impacts in the community than others. But I think that the beauty of what we're trying to do is sort of create that opportunity that we're all equal in this space, that we all have a story to tell, and it's a story that we want to make sure that we give that room to do it. Not only a safe space, I always like to say safe space, but I think a lot of it is making sure that Black men feel comfortable having these sometimes deeper conversations, but also just having the conversation. I think that is most important to me as we start building this out and sort of interviewing and talking to and inviting more men to be a part of it. And I think that this platform that we're sort of building out and sort of spreading the word of is exactly what we want to do, and exactly how we want to do it in a time that needs it, I believe.
Absolutely. So what do we need from you guys as our listeners is, one, we need you to tune into the podcast. So this will be available on all the platforms. So whatever you like to listen to your favorite podcast on, it'll be there. And then also we'll have it on our YouTube page. So, you can always tune into the YouTube page if you like to see the conversations and see us kind of talking and interacting with our guests. You could do that. Another thing is share this podcast with other people. So we all know Black men in our communities and our schools, wherever we live. So share this with other people. And then two, if you have people that you want us to interview, contact us, send us an email, let us know that, hey, there's a Black man in my community that's making a huge impact. They're, being very impactful in whatever ways that they're doing it. And we want to reach out to them. So make sure you just get in touch with us, because our goal is to change the narrative of what it means to be a Black man in America. And I think we can't do that without highlighting those individuals that are doing great work that we just don't know about. So that's what I would ask, share this podcast, listen to it, and then let us know who we need to be interviewing, because we're open to that for sure.
And and be clear that although we're in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, Twin Cities, it's a Zoom, right? It's a Zoom podcast, so we can make sure that we're reaching all over. So we can talk to folks wherever they are in the country, or technically in the world, to be honest, and just be able to know that you can recommend someone, we can get a hold of them, we can just jump on Zoom and have that conversation. So let's not limit ourselves to where we are. I mean, we're Black men all over the place, so let's figure out a way to get us all talking together a little bit.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for listening to this very first episode. Going forward, our episodes will probably be somewhere around 30 minutes or so. So, you can listen to it in your commute home or commute to work, wherever you're going. And then just know that, like Karl said, we are not limited by our location. Zoom is available. We can always jump on virtual space, and we're looking forward to kind of creating this movement, starting this conversation, and seeing where it goes. So thank you for joining us to be a part of this journey with us.
I appreciate you.